And cooking's an international language. That's what's the best thing about it was. Just take a moment to like breathe and go, oh my God, how good is the youth and, traveling and cooking and, But I remember one of the other things that we used to eat a lot when I was a kid.
Welcome to Dining Room Stories with Domar and Andrea, where we take you behind the scenes of the restaurant business world with stories and conversation that inspire. Today, we are joined by one of Melbourne's more respected chefs, known for his creativity, calm leadership, and ability to blend Italian heart with an Indian soul. Welcome to Dining Room Stories, Adam da Silva.
Thank you.
Welcome, chef.
Italian heart with Indian soul. I've never heard that before.
Isn't it?
That's good. I like that. I like that. I'm going to use that. I'm taking that one. That one's for free.
I believe for Decca is perfect.
Correct. Yes, it is for we're starting backwards or we starting forwards? Where are we going? Are we going to wind back the clock? We're going to wind back the clock first.
Let's start from the butcher shop.
Yes.
The beginning.
Yes. You Googled well.
I mean, that's my job. That's what I do. I Google people.
Adam, we are professionals.
Yeah, seemingly.
We're beginner professionals.
Seemingly.
We try.
I'll tell you after this podcast.
That's right.
Grew up in a butcher shop. So grew up around food. Being my mum's side being Italian, Abruzzese from Sulmona. My father Anglo-Indian from India. But I grew up with, in a typical first generation, migrant family, migrated to Faulkner. And then that's where I spent a lot of the time growing up with my Nonna. And then that was like back in the day where the whole, every inch of the property had chickens, had every vegetable growing, zucchini, beans, tomatoes, strawberries, prickly pears, chocos, to making every driveway. The driveway in the back had like all grapes growing, and in the front had nespole, figs, plums. It was just like, it was amazing. So, still remember climbing the fig tree and picking all the figs off.
Oranges, lemons.
Oranges, lemons. Yep,
good. Classic Italian garden.
Had everything. We had everything, and that was just like carrots and. We used to pick and eat all the fruit and vegetables, and in the garage made wine. I remember my nonna used to have like a wine press. So I think the first time I got drunk was when I was 3, because we used to like drink the fermented grape juice out of the press. That's my mum's. And we used to get the glass and drink it. So it had everything. So that's where I was exposed to, real food. You could say it was organic food also, but just everything of the culture. So, growing up more Italian, obviously, because I was brought up by like my nonna and, my zias. I spent a lot of time looking after me because my parents were always busy working. So that's why, that's why I learned how to make gnocchi when I was pretty much 3 years old, because we used to turn the pasta wheel, so, the pasta machine wheel with my nonna when she was making pasta. But that was my real thing into it.
So it's been like a big year when you were 3. You started drinking and you started making pasta.
100%, right? And I'm still drinking and still making pasta.
No, actually,
45 years later.
Just because we're in Australia, right? To clarify, kids in the Italian culture, they drink a little bit of wine. Usually we put little, just not even a finger. With water, but in this
correct.
case,
That's what we did. That's what that was at the table, because they didn't want to make you feel left out.
Correct.
It was inclusive to just put we always got a drop of wine into our water, But I remember one of the other things that we used to eat a lot when I was a kid, even a bit older, was clingstone peaches in red wine, and didn't realize that we were eating them. We were actually just pretty much eating like soaked peaches in wine when I was like not even a teenager, and be like, oh my God, these are amazing. Yeah, just go, oh my God.
I think in a pet say like when you got the sweet wine, you're like, oh, this is good. This is really good. Your parents are like, you're getting drunk, stop drinking that. It's like, what?
Yeah, correct.
Anyway, disclaimer.
It was all under adult supervision. It was that and the passive smoking from the pipes and the cigar and the cigarettes.
I think is the normality for an Italian kid to drink a little bit of wine.
Yeah, 100%. And then even started with coffee. So, we just used to, I think I started drinking coffee when I was in grade 4 or 5, percolator. And then the same thing now with my daughter, who's, almost 16. She drinks coffee as well. She started drinking coffee, I think maybe like in year 7. She has all different types of coffee, frosted and iced coffee, and
Well, it's like, coffee is like sharing, sitting down, have a conversation. It's not just about like that. Then it depends. In Italy, we do shot at the bar, but it's also like sitting down. In the Asian culture, for example, coffee is time. Like
I know. Well, you forced me to have a
friends.
coffee. You forced me to have a coffee downstairs.
I offered twice. I offered
How many did you have already?
I have 2 double long macchiatos pretty much in the morning, first thing in the morning, in my pajamas and close to a bathroom.
So is it true that chefs have 10 or 15 coffees a day?
But you don't smoke. Right?
Sorry?
Is it true that chefs have 10 or 15 coffees a day?
I don't. Maybe chefs do. But I love my Lavazza coffee. There you go. Chiching.
Not Sarimio.
I love Sarimio as well. Trent.
Be careful, because we had Julia. She's pretty...
I mean, they all started with Lavazza, so we're all fine, right? So the whole experience of the family tradition, and then it was like, when you discover the passion, right? So when it all comes into play.
I had a kind of light bulb moment, and this probably sounds silly, but literally when I was about 7 or 8, because I loved cooking. So I just used to cook all the time. So I cook for the family. I used to come home and cook after school. I remember, because, we used to make the passata. We used to make 300 bottles, odd beer bottles every March. We used to go down under the house, grab a bottle, make spaghetti Napoli every day after school. And then just being around food. And then I was, obviously forced or made to work, maybe forced, whatever. I don't know what you call it today. but to work in the butcher shop. So I was around food, and I kind of just, surrounded by food. And then we'd always, my mum would always cook, every night we'd have a bowl of pasta and curry on the table, because my father always wanted to eat curry pretty much 6 days a week. And then my mum would make fresh pasta on Sundays after we go to church. And that was normal. So we'd always eat pasta beforehand.
I love it.
And then we'd eat curry, felt like curry, and it was just normal. So when, it was funny. When we used to go to the Indian side for family functions, my mum would always used to feed us a bowl of pasta just in case, because her curries were much lighter and tastier. The other ones were full of ghee. So that's how I based my menu at Tonka, which was a modern Indian restaurant.
Yeah.
It was a ghee-free kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
My mum used to make it with olive oil. So that makes it lighter, and that's why to this day, I still can't go to an Indian restaurant, or even when I'm in India, and eat curries from there, because they're too heavy. They're too rich for me. So, yeah, we'll go back to that. Yeah.
Both cultures, like the Indian and the Italian, they have like thousands of years, or we can say at least 100 years of tradition, right? But the Italian cuisine, to me, is a little bit more simple. But as a chef, what's the difference between your two souls?
Oh, look. There is simplicity in Indian cooking, in the sense of like, it's the same spices, just used differently. And it depends which region you're from. Just like, depends which region of Italy you're from. I never grew up with having bechamel in lasagna. The first time I saw bechamel in lasagna was when I pretty much was an apprentice, and I was like, what's this? Because more from the south. So I think, look, there's restraint in, I think they're just as tasty as each other. I wouldn't say Indian food's complicated, because it's the same range of spices used in different ways. It's more layered.
Yeah, sometimes it's like 3-4.
And so you got to say that, I guess maybe the quality of the produce is different, because that's why they layer it with so many spices, and curry means sauce, really. So, it's a sauce. So where, Italy is this, there is more, there's intricacies in Italian food also, or nuances, I think. So, it's interesting. But I think when I think and this is going to be controversial, but I think chefs who've done cooked Asian food.
Hi guys, I hope you're enjoying the episode. Remember to subscribe to our channel to get updates and keep enjoying the rest of the episode.
And Asian food being from Thai to Indian to this, especially like Asian food like Thai. And that's, is that they actually cook better European food than Europeans or Italians because they know how to balance flavors. And this is controversial.
Whoa.
This is controversial because we're not scared to be able to taste it and balance it with acid and sugar and salt, which is the main three, and heat, bit of spice. And that's what you have to do when you cook Asian food. You have to balance it. So that's why I use a lot of acid, being lemon or lime, in my food. And that's what makes it tasty as well because I can balance it where, some people are scared to put, squeeze a lemon at the end of something or whatever, or even in a pasta, finish a pescatore pasta with a bit of lemon juice or something like that and just makes it vibrant. Not marinara, pescatore.
I know marinara is a confusion between pizza and the pasta. But so you're from Abruzzo, but what you're saying is like Abruzzo in your opinion is south because technically it's center.
I know, but only because it's more. I mean, I say more on the south side, but the centre. Yes, it is the centre. It is the centre.
It's all right. I know. I don't know how Abruzzese feel.
I'm not
Abruzzo,
Sicilian or Calabrese. I'm from Africa or African. Africa. That's another controversial thing as well.
Chef, do you feel more Italian or India?
Italian, because I was brought up Italian. So brought up in Italian culture. So, but I have the palate of that. I have the palate of having both, liking both cuisines.
And what do you prefer to cook?
Italian.
Well,
Italian's comfort food for me. Spaghetti aglio olio is my dish I eat when I'm happy. Dish will eat when I'm sad. Dish would be my last. If someone said, "What would be your last dish to eat?" It would be spaghetti aglio olio. So it's not on my Zio Mario. He's like that's his favorite dish, and that's it's one of the things that you can eat it. I'd eat it any time. I eat a big bowl of it. And there's different ways of cooking aglio olio.
I think it's the hardest pasta to cook.
Hardest pasta because it's a technique. And my nonna taught me how to make it because she's the first one to tell me to put the cup of water into it so it emulsifies. So, but I don't brown my garlic. Where another chef, so Marco Lori, who's a quite a known Italian chef, he came and did a shift at Decca the other day, and I said, "Can you make aglio olio? Because I've got a request." And he browned the garlic, and I looked at it and I went, "What are you?" And then the other chefs go, my other pasta chef goes, "Adam doesn't like brown garlic." I go, but anyway, I tasted it and it mellowed out, and I actually didn't mind it. It's got the nuttiness of it. Yeah. The nuttiness of the garlic comes through. So it depends what you're used to. It depends like with bolognese, not bolognese as everyone says, but bolognese is for me onion, garlic, bay leaf, pork, beef, and whole peel tomatoes.
A pork and beef together, not just beef.
Pork and beef.
Ah, right.
I do pork and beef. And it's the same one I've been doing forever since my kids were born. So they only eat my bolognese. I try to put other stuff in it. Carrot and celery don't do it. But I puree the onion and garlic. I puree the onion, garlic, and tomato first after I cook it for a bit. And then I put the, seared, not brown, but seared meat in. And that's it. Cook it for about an hour. It's not a very heavily cooked, so it's still nice and fresh. And some bay leaf, and that's it.
Maintain the balance, not overcooked.
I don't like ragouts really cooked down. It's just too rich for me. That's why I'm a very kind of light. I like light food. I struggle to eat a creamy pasta. Even the other day, I tried to struggle to eat a creamy pasta. But yeah, so there you go.
That's very interesting, chef.
And I can only use a certain brand of tomato for the bolognese because I try to change it. So I got it's on the menu at Decca. I got a spaghetti bolognese on there, and I changed the tomato. My eldest daughter Ava came in and she goes, "Dad, what have you done to the pasta? What have you done to the bolognese? It tastes like shit." Literally.
I don't love you anymore. What's wrong here?
I changed tomatoes.
I'm pretty sure your kids are your biggest critics.
So then I remember the supplier and we go, "How did the tomatoes go?" I said, "No good. We're going back to the other one."
Whoa, interesting.
Adam.
I'm going back to the other brand.
Right.
But you'll be surprised, Valverde.
You
It's controversial, but it makes the best bolognese.
You educated them well, right? Or they have a beautiful palate.
So you saw in the restaurant at Decca, I have 3 different brands of tomato for different things.
What does Decca means?
What does Decca mean? Stuckats.
We're not gonna translate it.
They're not going to translate that. But if you know, you know. It means, it actually means 10 in Greek, which I didn't realize until I opened the restaurant. And Greek people came in and go, oh, 10 out of 10, great 10. Are you Greek? I go, no, I'm half Italian, half Indian, which makes me Greek. It's a joke.
I like this.
So my friend who did the branding, he gave me a dozen names, and one of them, it wasn't in that font the way it is now. And I looked at it and I was like, oh, going through it. And you know when you just probably just be pigeonholed with like looking at names, and I tried to think of other names, and naming a restaurant is so hard because you either can get really deep and meaningful and go, you know, because it's here, it's down this street, there's history in the building and all this kind of stuff and blah, blah, blah. But I always like one word, 2 syllables is how I like to name things. So, you know, because I had Coda, I had Tonka, I got Bosco Gelato, the Bocca. So Bocca was actually supposed to be the name of a restaurant I was going to do about 7 years ago. But that got diverted when I got asked to consult at the W for their restaurant called Lolo. So I put that on ice, and now, long story short, fast forward, you know, 4 years, had the idea to do a gelati shop. And then that's how I said to my business partner, Monica, who's a gelati maker, the maestro, if you call him maestro. But I said, I've got the name already. Why don't we just add gelati to it at the end of it? And that's how Bosco Gelato was born, the name. Long story short, coming back to Decca, I went through all the names and I went, I've had Tonka, had Coda, Bocca, Decca. I was like, stuff it. I just had to come up with, like, ends in 1 word, 2 syllables, ends in A.
Easy to remember, right?
And my wife goes, you know what? The other ones have been all right for you, and in an A. She goes, yeah. I said, all right, that's it. Don't worry. That's
I think it's very catchy.
But then when the font was done, I liked it with the D and stuff like that. So, you know, and then once you create, you know, when you create the identity of a restaurant, of like the feel, the fit out, so the food, it all comes together. As long as it's, you know, and then that's how I feel it comes together. You know, so you can name it anything really, as long as it's catchy. I mean, not catchy, but it's fair.
It does have a very homely feeling, the restaurant.
Just like Cosi, you know?
I think you've been to Cosi.
Cosi.
Can we say to our audience that you were the chef for one of my restaurants?
Yes.
Not when I owned it,
I was
but-
the chef. I was the third head chef of Cosi.
Yeah.
But different times, right? So
Well,
Very different time.
30 years ago.
can we go
More.
back into the
Not
history?
even 30 years ago. More, almost 30 years ago,
All
actually.
right. So what happened first? So the story.
I think he was working as a chef at Cosi Bar
I say
restaurant
it was the third
in South Yarra
No,
in
third head chef.
1999.
So there was I was in 90. So I ended up taking over.
'cause
I started there.
They were younger.
Yes. So it was actually my cousin Danny from Cedar Hospitality who got me the job there, because I was started my apprenticeship at the Hilton back in 1996. So next year's 30 years of cooking professionally. Where he's got me a couple of jobs actually. He got me my first KitchenAid job at Fiorelli's in Camberwell. So that's where I kind of discovered, you know, when I was 17, discovered Italian food professionally or commercially. And then I was in the hotels, started my apprenticeship at the Hilton on the Park, which was great, amazing. That was when back in the 90s when the hotels were like, you know, the place to go. But anyway, then got out of the hotels and ended up working at Cosi, and that's where I was under Silvana. Michele Ushi just left, and that's when Cosi and Cafe Cucina were the 2 hottest restaurants in South Yarra.
I think Cosi was the first bar and restaurant in Melbourne. Now every restaurant is a bar restaurant.
Yes. But I love Cosi. You know, I always said when I was there that I would love to one day love to have a restaurant with that fit out, with that vibe. It had the best vibe going around.
And next year is 30 years.
I know next year's 30 years, so
we should do something.
I'm going to come and cook. I'm going to come. Gosh, I'm going to think of one of the dishes I used to do back then. Oh, I used to do a fresh spinach spaghettini with pesto. And I used to put feta and we tried tomatoes. I don't know what I was thinking.
Maybe we're going to do that again.
And then we started to do tortellini. It was fun. What else did I used to do? And the miqui. There's this, which I've got to tell you, I've got to give you the recipe for and put it on the menu. We definitely have to do that for 30 years next year.
For sure.
And I put it on the menu at Decca also for quite a few months. And it was delicious. Little molten, like a fondant, like a little
like
pudding.
a chocolate fondant.
But it had to be half cooked. So, that was, one of the most popular dishes there on the menu for desserts. Going back to Cosi I did that for 3 years. So then I worked my way up to head chef because Silvana left, Donato left. And then, I was running the kitchen at 21, 22.
That's
it was
impressive.
very young.
22.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Especially
so I was given the opportunity to do
days.
it. Back in the days I did it and I just kind of ran with it, I guess. And then
Was it busy?
it was chockers all the time. Breakfast, lunch and dinner. Busy all the time, like pumping. And that's when Toorak Road still on a Friday, Saturday night was bumper to bumper with all cars going up and down. Like it was a place to go. That's when everyone was going out, there was so many nightclubs around that everyone was going out, and the clubbing scene was massive around those in the 90s.
Do you miss those moments?
I do miss them. I wish I was young again.
As the world changed?
Yes. But look, put it this way, I enjoyed myself, and it was a good place to be. Good time to be. So,
what do you think of today's economy?
Are we going this direction?
Let's stay on this story. So did you like working in an environment that you're always pumping up, exciting?
But I love cooking. But I didn't realize until I started my apprenticeship how antisocial it was. So the thing I loved about going to restaurants is that, this is my opinion, in hotels, it's like going to school. You got the principal, who's the executive chef, and it's very regimented. You can't do anything. You got to do this, you got to do that. You got no personality, you got no freedom to an extent. Go to a restaurant, and the restaurant owner can, and that's why I love restaurants. The restaurant owner can go, today we're going to do this instead. We're going to get this instead. We're going to buy this instead. We're going to change the menu. It just happens. And that's what I love about that. And I love the fact that there was a lot more, I did have fun at Cosi. We did we used to go out after work, and there was a really good culture and stuff like that. So that's why I love the restaurants. And then got to a stage where it was a bit of a turning point, or, fork in the road, where my Zil Mario organised for me to go cook in Italy. And then I was either going to do that, I was either going to buy an apartment, start to investigate a property, start, get something, a foot in the door. And I was going to I actually went for a trial to work at Scusi Mi and be Mario Donati and Simon Humble's head chef at Scusi Mi. Did the trial, got the job. And then my Zil Mario goes, mate, should go to Italy. And I go, yeah, you know what? Don't buy anything. Go there. And I went to Italy, and I went pretty much went to Italy for a year, and that changed my life.
In Abruzzo?
No, I went to Umbria. I was in Torgiano.
Oh, nice. Sorry, but Mario is the same uncle that cooks the good spaghetti pasta, right? All right.
So then he gave me the opportunity there because he organised some work experience for me there or whatever. And so I went there. I stayed there. I was in Torgiano at a restaurant, vineyard, hotel called La Tre Vezelle. I don't even know it's still there. Probably should be still there. And then I stayed there for a few months. I got a bit bored with it because, I don't know, kitchen dynamic wasn't awesome, and the food was a bit, wasn't really learning anything. So then another Omar who worked at Cosi with me, who lives in Loreto. So I rang him. I go, mate, I want to, the season started also, summer season. And I said, mate, I'm sick of here. Got a job for me. So so in La Macchia, it was a restaurant called Il Sardeghino, which was on the beach. So it was like a couple of k's down from the hill where the Loreto is. And then I worked there for the whole season. And that was, because that was good fun. I mean, it was not good fun, but it was like I don't know.
Intense.
I don't think you're allowed. I don't think you're allowed to work. You're not allowed. Definitely can't. Going back to the economy and stuff like that, you definitely can't work.
No, perciò tu parli italiano fluentemente?
Yeah, poco.
Ah, ma parlo parli bene.
I understand more than I speak. I understand more than I speak. I understand that dialect, but I don't think you're even allowed. I mean, I probably think they still work like that overseas, even in like America or Asia. And Italy, Europe, where you work I was working 6 days a week, 6 doubles, and you only had Monday off.
All right, that's tough.
And that was normal though. So but it was an experience that was amazing. Back in and I kind of waited till I was 25 when I did that. So I think going international to cook, it's better to do it when you're a bit older. So you just and cooking's an international language. That's what's the best thing about it was. Is that, even though I understood, I spoke a different dialect, obviously. I spoke proper Italian, not abruzzese. So it took me a while to understand it a bit. And
they were speaking dialect.
My mum's family always speak dialect. So their dialect hasn't changed. So that was an experience to go there.
Things are slow to change in Italy.
Yeah.
And also that's why the tradition comes into place.
But then, fast forward a bit, lived in Italy, worked there, lived in Hong Kong, lived in New York. I always work every country, and then I've been very privileged to go and cook in all different countries, Singapore all the time, India, Indonesia, all those places. I realise how lucky or how good the standard of living in Australia is. And that's what I also said after I spent my time in Italy. I'm like, you know what? I was going to go to London to cook there and do the whole back thing. Back in the 90s, it was very, early 2090s. That was the thing that, to cut your teeth as a young Aussie chef or anything, just to go. People were always going to London.
Yeah, that was the thing, right?
So I went to London for a bit and hung out with my brother, and then I was like, you know what? The standard of living and the way of the life was too good in Australia. And I always said I always go back to Australia to live and do a business. So then from there I came back and I started to work. I did 2 job interviews. One was for Jeff Lindsay at Pearl Restaurant in Richmond, just down the road from here. And then the other one was with Greg Malouf when he had Momo's. And I was like, because I really love Greg's food, the late Greg Malouf. And then I loved the Asian, the modern Asian that and the thing that Jeff was doing at Pearl. And then I ended up choosing Pearl. This sounds really silly, just because coming back to the economy, because I got paid by the hour at Pearl, and I could park in Richmond. And also, so it was a very tough decision. I was like, because I loved Greg's food, and he was like, "No, you're a salary, and you got to pay for everything." And I'm like, "Yeah." No. So, Andrew Gunn was also the main man behind Pearl, who is, still friends with him. He was like an amazing person to work for because he pioneered. That was when Jeff Lindsay and T. Gazar were pioneering modern Asian food in like a hatted environment. He had Ezards and there was Pearl. And that's where I got introduced into, I took a few steps back from being a so-called head chef at Cosi and worked my way up. In a couple of years, I was head chef at Pearl for Jeff, and I was there for 7 years, on and off. In between that, I got approached because I met Martin Boats from Longrain, and they would open up a Melbourne chapter. And how I got the job for that, because Martin would come down and we did some Longrain dinners. We launched the Longrain cookbook at Pearl. And that's when like Kylie Kwong, Matt Moran, all these chefs would come and do, that's what's great. But they did these guest chef dinners at Pearl. And so every time Marty came down to do a cooking demonstration or cooking class, he'd ask me to assist him. And when I heard about the Wind of Melbourne Longrain opening, I saw him out and someone came down and I said, "Why haven't you made me head chef of Longrain?" And he goes, "Oh yeah." So the next day he gives me a call. "Yep, I've sacked my current head chef, who's going to be the head chef, made you the head chef." And that's how I became the head chef of Melbourne Longrain. And then I went and worked in Sydney Longrain for 6 months until we opened Melbourne. So I was there for about a year and a bit. And then actually Longrain just celebrated 20 years. Longrain Melbourne just celebrated 20 years. The Sydney arm doesn't exist anymore. And then I got a phone call from Jeff saying, "Hey, can you, during that time we won 3 hats at Pearl. And he goes, hey, can you come back and help me out, please? And I said, yeah, right, sure. And then a couple of years later, that same time I went back, I won Young Chef of the Year for the Good Food Guide, just because I was just under the 30 mark. And then fast forward, 2009, 2008, met my future business partners as Coda and Tonka, and then we opened Coda in 2009. And that same year, we got married in January, opened Coda in June, and fell pregnant. And what else did I do in that time?
It was a busy year.
Busy year.
So basically, when you were 3 years old, and then 2009, with the 2 biggest years of your life.
100%. If you want to put it that way, for sure. But I also I wasn't in a rush to open a restaurant. It was the right partnership came along. I had the concept of doing a long grain / pearl thing, but I always based it on my food. I wanted it to be like a Movida, tapas, modern Asian in the city, and that's how I think I was one of the first ones to really do it in that style. Coda was one of the first ones to do it in that style, which I like that, and that's why I love that sharing. I get bored. I don't know about you guys, but I get bored with food very easily. In the sense I get bored with the taste. So I need to eat multiple things, and I'm happy to have a bite of that, a bite of this, bite of that. I can't sit there pretty much besides spaghetti aglio olio, eat a big bowl of something or a big plate of something.
So how do you maintain balance in menus? Because at the end of the day, you need to also, some customers will love the same food or same dishes, right? How do you balance creativity?
I just cook food that I want to eat and people want to eat.
You talking about family or
talking about
restaurant?
both? Oh, no, talking about food. Not talking about food in the restaurants.
I see restaurants or family. I mean, do you cook the same way?
100%.
Oh,
Cook the same way, and that's the thing that you said, we said before, my kids are not spoiled, but they've got a very, not high standard, but they know good food. So
yeah,
they don't, the pasta water's got to be salted. They can taste it, doesn't taste right. The steak's got to be cooked rare to medium rare. The pastas will be al dente. They don't eat reheated pasta, which I never used to do either as a child. I refused. I think I've drove my Zia Teresa up the wall that many times because she used to feed me. Even my nonna, I go, nah, not eating it. I prefer to starve than eat reheated pasta.
What about chickpea pasta or beans pasta the day
pasta
after?
Pasta fagioli.
Pasta fagioli is good the day after. We do that in Italy.
I always cook pasta fresh, even to this day. I've gotten a bit more kind of better at eating reheated pasta.
I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying. Some plates we do. They're better the day after.
I know, and then back in the day, pre-microwaves, used to reheat it in the pan as well.
Basically frying.
But I was very particular where I'd never used to eat. I remember going to Mario's and Teresa's house and we'd eat pasta, but I would always eat. I didn't like eating salad out of a dirty pasta plate, so I'd always used to eat salad first, and then I'd eat pasta, and then I'd eat the pasta afterwards.
So I'm confused.
But when you
salad first and then.
Because I didn't want to eat salad out of a dirty pasta plate with sauce in it.
Why you didn't use 2 plates?
I don't know. I'm going to find out. That's
why we have 3 months ago, all right?
That's why I look back and you go on, I just could have got a fresh plate. So I was that pedantic and the food couldn't touch other food. And it's comes same now with my son Javier. Food can't touch other food. This can't be on the same
Adam,
plate.
don't worry. We know the chefs are really peculiar.
No, but
They're peculiar.
No, it's the thing in Australia. It's like, why do you use 2 plates? It's like we do primo e secondo, first and second, 2 different plates.
Anyway, so that's then I used to drink the vinegar out of the salad bowl. I always got that. And now my youngest daughter Olivia, she does that as well. She's got a very acidic palate like me, where she loves that. So I have to dress her salad at home. Because if my wife does it, it's not dressed enough, not enough vinegar, not enough salt.
But yeah, having an Italian and Indian heritage is very unique.
Yes.
In a way. Because as you said, the palate is very different. It gets accustomed to different taste.
But I think that also we're so fortunate in Australia where to find modern Australian cuisine. So that's why I've cooked modern Australian food, modern Asian, modern Indian. To find modern Australian, what's modern Australian? Am I a modern Australian? 100%. Do I cook one? Because I think that I feel, I know, because I've obviously been there around the world, we cook some of the best food of other cultures. So we cook some of the best Japanese, some of the best Chinese, some of the best Vietnamese, some of the best Italian, and some of the best Indian, purely because of our produce. You don't get that in India. When you go to India, you struggle to get good produce, like fresh produce, you know. In Italy, it's different because, you know, casalinga style is the best, but, you know, the tomatoes obviously taste better in Italy because they're seasonal. You know, if they're in season in Australia, they're good, but that's the difference. But I think, you know, I think when people go, you know, Australians mean people with an Australian passport, when they go to Italy, go, oh my God, it tastes amazing, it's different. Yes, it tastes amazing, but there's also another reason why food in Italy sometimes tastes amazing.
Because you are relaxed.
Because you're on holiday, doing nothing, looking over the
I've been saying that for a long time.
You know
Nobody
what I mean?
believed me.
It's when you're on holiday, everything tastes good.
You can have the same bottle of wine in Tuscany, same Brunello,
Yes.
same year, and
Yes.
everything. Tuscany and Melbourne, it tasted differently.
Yeah, this tastes shit.
Where
What's
the-
wrong with
where-
this? It
no,
doesn't
no.
taste as good.
I did. We had a Chianti the other day. I was like, oh, I'm not impressed. Whatever.
Yeah.
But I think, for example, speck is one of those things that you need to go to Trentino
Yeah.
to have the best experience. You never ever.
Well, I
So you
think-
say food and
Yeah.
place affects the food experience.
Exactly. So actually, what I've been doing, I don't know if this is legal, but I go to the Dolomites to ski in Corvada with my Zero and cousins and stuff like that. And I've been going there for quite a few years every year. And I realised that the beef in Italy, and this is controversial again, is not great. You know, I've had bistecca Fiorentina overlooking the Duomo in Firenze. It was the worst €100 I spent on a steak. So now I took a 5 kilo piece of Scotch fillet, Riverina, all the way took it frozen in my luggage all the way, and it made it there. Really? I got I'll show a photo later.
So you said you had a bad Fiorentina in Firenze.
Correct.
All right.
We're one of the best countries for beef, hands down. Us, America and South America are the best countries for beef, and Japan obviously, but Japan's obviously a different style. So that's why I take beef to Italy and eat it, and then it lasts.
And I agree with you, chef.
And it stays frozen anyway.
I think the reel that went like viral was when George was talking about if Australian or European milk is better. What do you think about that? You think cows are
Yeah, well, it's
better?
it just tastes different. Just tastes different.
Yeah.
You know, it just depends if it's homogenized and it just tastes different. You know, it's like cream in Italy and cream in America is the consistency of milk, but it whips up like cream, which a lot of young chefs who've never traveled the world would go, what? And that's why, but we put gelatin in our cream, a lot of our cream, in a lot of our cream. Like thickened cream's got gelatin in it.
All right.
Cooking cream doesn't.
But for beef, you're saying like it's better, Australian meat is better than Italian or European meat.
100%, 100%. And then, but even when I've cooked in India, I've cooked at the Australian High Commission in Mumbai, Delhi, Chennai. The lamb that they get over there, because obviously they don't eat beef, I've eaten these lamb cutlets and I sit there and go, I've never tasted lamb like this in my life. Because all the primo A-grade stuff gets exported. In Singapore, when I've cooked in Singapore, I go to a restaurant and eat a steak from Australia. I sit there and go, where did this beef come from? Australia. It's like, we don't see it. Unfortunately, because of the dollar, we don't see it. The only time we started to see export quality meat in Australia was in 2009. Also, when I opened Coda, we opened in the GFC, global financial crisis. And that's when the dollar was parity, and that's why a lot of export beef stayed in Australia because of the dollar.
So what you're saying is that Australia exports the premium meat?
100%. Why wouldn't you? I would. Like you do.
Yeah.
They get the premium fish, and they get the premium, of everything overseas because they get a better dollar.
Like, so what if you want to get the best steak in Melbourne? Where you should go?
Decca.
Of course.
To my restaurant, which is a good segue to my menu, because I've got the first time I've actually had a proper charcoal grill, brasa, which is amazing, the Perillo grill, it's amazing. So charcoal, cook on charcoal and mangrove and some red gum. And I've actually spoiled myself in the sense of, not spoiled myself, but I've created a restaurant. I do spoil myself because I eat well, but created a restaurant where now I don't really need to go to another restaurant unless I want to go for an experience, because I've got beautiful charcoal meat, and then also fish and all types of different seafood. And I make my own pasta, so I've got a beautiful pasta machine there. So all house-made pasta, not homemade. I like how people say homemade in a restaurant, because did you make it at home and bring it? Bring it.
So you say restaurant made.
Oh, house-made, made in the house of the restaurant.
I think has been made in somebody's house. That's why it's house-made.
Correct. And I do now, the food at Decca is, I was funny. I kind of resisted at the start when I was going to create the menu, but fortunately, look, I had enough time. There was a bit of delays, quite a lot of delay of restaurant opening, that I got to think about the menu, and then I'm like, I used to get bailed up a lot and go, oh yeah, looking forward to your restaurant, which is great. But then I was going to be like Coda, I was going to be like Tonka, and I'm like in my head going, taking all these notes, going, people expecting the food of those restaurants that I did because they loved it, and they were successful restaurants. Just that the partnership soured. And I had the balls to leave, which a lot of people get stuck in partnerships, right? And so things went, and I was like, you know what, that's it. I got approached to go do Decca in the Bend development, Yarra Bend precinct in Alphington there, and I knew what the market needed because I live up by the road. But doing an eclectic, giving something for everyone, even though the menu seems big, but it's not big to execute. It's just variety, and that's what I'm coming back to, growing up as a baby, a bowl of pasta and a curry on the table. And that's what now I've done at Decca. So sometimes I go, because I work on the floor a lot in the sense of greeting all the customers and becoming a real community, like go old school hospitality. That's what people want. There's the only difference between a good restaurant and a great restaurant is the hospitality. You making someone feel special and give an experience and press the flesh and make them look after, because that's what has gone. There's a lot of restaurants out there, they're soulless from the front of house.
And create emotions.
Create emotions and cook simple food. The hardest thing to do in a restaurant, and it only comes, it only comes from maturity as a chef. Young chefs always try to overcomplicate dishes.
It takes confidence to do simple things.
Well, it takes a lot more skill also to cook a simple spaghetti aglio olio, as we just said before we started recording. If you got 10 chefs the same ingredients for aglio olio, all 10 would be completely different.
Also being an expert and being in peace with yourselves as a chef, you know.
But I also I've always cooked food that I've wanted to eat and not overcomplicate it. Just do it tasty, So doing a curry, so I put butter chicken on the menu. I put duck curry because that's known. Every time I've gone to cook somewhere, they go, "Where's your duck curry?" And I go, "Oh my God." But it's a signature, like my crispy beetle leaves, but then next to my vodka rigatoni, my spicy vodka rigatoni. How many places in Melbourne do you get it from? Do you get it? Not many, because the chefs are going, "I don't want to do that. It's too simple. I don't want to do that." Because spaghetti bolognese, spaghetti pomodoro, are all on the menu. Because that's what people want to come and eat, and if it's good and it's done properly, that's one of the best things ever.
At the end, you also need to do dishes for your customers.
Yeah.
If they love it, why not?
Yeah, I've even got pizza on the menu. I do a pinza pizza.
Can I ask you why you have only a couple of pizzas on the menu?
To keep it simple. I'm not a pizzeria.
Yeah.
With more so I get this beautiful dough made by Slice of Rome. I'm going to give him a plug, Frank. He because I was his guinea pig when he first changed from Napoli style pizza to Roman style pizza. So he's in Thornbury, a very good mate of mine, and he started changing when he transitioned from Napoli style to Roman style. I was his guinea pig. So he does this beautiful 72-hour ferment. I can't do that in the restaurant. I don't have the space, nor I'm not set up as a pizzeria like that. So I just do two toppings. I actually haven't said that I want to do some specials, do different toppings, but the two most popular dish flavors, and the reason why I did pizza on the menu, he makes me these pinza pizzas, especially for me, and also my focaccia. But I do have a small pizza oven there at the restaurant, is because I wanted to be because I'm you know, I've got 3 children. If your kids want to eat pizza, but you want to have a steak, who's going to win? The children win.
For sure.
So you're going to go and eat pizza. Right?
So interesting.
The children win. So that's why I put pizza on the menu. But I'm surprised about how many adults come in and eat the pizza. I'm like, oh yeah, you're having a margarita. I go, yeah, that's what I feel like. I go, perfect. That's what's on the menu.
And it's a rectangular
Nah, it's
pizza.
more oval. He makes it to the size of my plate. So my beautiful place from Cedar Hospitality. I'm just going to plug everyone anyway. So.
So, Adam, your story is a beautiful story. You've been traveling, going abroad, coming back, and just melting all this experience with your different restaurants, really successful restaurants. What would you say to your younger self if you could say an advice?
What I say to my younger self? Oh, this is what I actually just said. Funny you say this, because I actually just said this to one of my young chefs the other day. And I just said, ask me something similar. And I said, just take it in and appreciate it, because it doesn't last forever. Just absorb it, you know? Just take a moment to like breathe and go, oh my God, how good is the youth and, you know, traveling and cooking and, you know. But also I say wait till you're a bit more mature, then travel overseas, because you'll have a better head on your shoulders and you can read the situation better. You'll be a bit more cluey, more worldly about things. But, you know, cooking is one of the best things you can to travel with as well. Like what you can do and see and experience. That's why I say it's an international language. You don't have to speak the language, because majority of my chefs for years have been internationals. They can't speak the language. And they've ended up being my best, most talented, dedicated, hardworking chefs, period. You know, from all countries, from Nepalese to Korean to Indonesian. And the funny thing is when I've employed staff or team and chefs and stuff like that, I get everyone in, because even though they haven't spoke the language, I go, for example, they have a kitchen hand. Do you know how to use this machine? They sit there and go, yes. And I go, it's okay if you don't. Just tell me and I'll show you. Yep, cool. And then they get a sniff. Oh, chef, I want to learn how to cook. And they end up cooking, and they've had great cooking careers. And that's, you know, and I just get, you know, just because, and the thing is, I experienced that when I went to Italy, because I didn't really speak Italian that well, like the dialect, you know, the proper Italian. I was thrown in an environment where I didn't understand, I couldn't communicate properly. So I felt like I was on the thing. So that's why I give everyone that comes to me, or if I see a resume that they're from X, Y, and wherever, I go get them in, because they're going to be my best attributes to the team. You know, give them a go, and they're so grateful. You know, so many chefs are like, oh my God, thank you, chef, thank you for giving me. You know, I had 10 interviews, and I didn't get the job because I couldn't speak English properly, and they just had no time to train. So, you know, I prefer to actually start from a blank canvas with any employee and teach them the way I do it. It's too hard sometimes to teach an old dog, but it is too hard to teach an old dog new tricks, or to get people out of habits, you know? So, you know, they all got to cook the way I cook. They've got to have, the kitchen's got to be the way I want to see it. Just like, you know, OCD, you know, chefs are very OCD.
Adam, thank you so much for being here today with us. I learned, and today I understood how it's important tradition, and now I start understanding how my mom is cooking and repetition. And every day she was like telling me again, how to make a perfect tomato sauce. And now talking to you today, I got a really beautiful understanding. Yeah, so thank you. Thanks you so much for being here, for sharing your experience with us here at Dining Room Stories, where we connect with amazing professionals like you, and we give a voice to the hospitality industry.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you for having me. It's been an honor.
Thank you so much, chef. We'll definitely come to Decca, and maybe we do something at Cosi for 30 years.
100% do something at Cosi.
Grazie mille.
Ciao.
Thank you. Ciao.
Grazie. Hey guys, thanks for watching the episode. I'm gonna see you in the next one.
Welcome to Dining Room Stories with Domar and Andrea, where we take you behind the scenes of the restaurant business world with stories and conversation that inspire.